What's up? My name's Glueboy. Welcome back to the channel. And today, back in my room, made some scheduling fuck-ups because I got horribly sick. And if I ever take a break on this channel, the YouTube robots will come and kill me or something. So today we got a fun, interesting topic, a thing that I consistently forget that exists in 40k. Today we're talking about Genestealer cults, which, knowing them and their kind of modus operandi, they'll probably be pretty happy to hear that I forget they exist, given how much subterfuge and planning for their eventual grand reveal. But let's get right into them. So, first and foremost, Genestealers are tyranid related, as they're technically a different species of nid. Their key role is to be a form of like scouting party, which locates a big fat juicy planet for the rest of the Hive Fleet to go and eat. And it makes sense, since they don't really have a method to travel through the warp or really go faster than light. A lot of times Tyranid Hive Fleets kind of just fly blind at subspace travel and hit something, infest it, eat it all, leave. So the role of a Genestealer cult is to infiltrate a planet and subvert the planet itself, make a giant big psychic beacon for the Hive Fleet to go track down, and boom, that's dinner. But how does a Genestealer actually do this? Since the Imperium is a massive place, and there are many powers that be that would actively be fighting against this. Well, the main problem is that they're really good at being subtle. And so they find methods to kind of sneakily do their thing. So you know that scene in Alien? In the big, like, wet chain room, whatever that was? So just imagine that, but with one of these guys. So, like, imagine this. You're just some random menial worker hanging out in like some boiler room of some ship or like Hive City, whatever. And this big ass Genestealer sneaks up on you and gives you something called the Genestealer's Kiss. Obviously not like an actual kiss. Instead, it's a method of where a Genestealer shoves a big tube down your throat and deposits a little bug inside you. And then you pass out, it scuttles away to do it again later, and you are left with no memory of the encounter, but you have a creature in your, but you now have a creature inside your body that is slowly rewriting your DNA. And, even more, you've been forever altered from this state. In fact, your consciousness is going to be overwritten by a very localized version of the hive mind, known as, the brood mind, which is literally a smaller hive mind that's more localized inside of Genestealer cult buddies rather than the whole Tyranid shit. And from this encounter, you also really want to start fucking. You want to fuck real bad and have kids, and when they eventually pop out, they're known as Genestealer hybrids, and usually at first look like this. Fun things, but you know, the brood mind kind of overwrites and makes you really like these children, raise them up and not kill them on sight. And this goes on for generations, and I do mean that, like literal generations of people like breeding, which there are actually multiple generations and stages of Genestealer hybrids. So I think it'd be fun to actually go into these step by step and describe them. So the first one we got are acolytes, which are most reminiscent of the original Genestealer, but are a bit more human-y. A lot of times they have extra arms and are purple, which these ones basically set the stones of the cult. They spread out in secret areas where no one really goes, like the absolute bottoms of hive worlds, full-on like mining facilities, like hidden places, and all gather around each other with the broodmind and just work together. And then we have the second generation, which is really like the first, also called acolytes, except for the extra arm thing, as they always have 3 arms. Also, it's around this time that Genestealer aberrants show up, which are just buff acolytes. Acolytes are really smart. They're very intelligent creatures. But just imagine you instead respect and put all of your points into strength and intelligence is your dump stat. That's an aberrant. And a lot of times uses shit like stop signs as weapons, which is real fun. Then we got the third generation, which is known as neophytes. And these ones make up the main fighting force of a Genestealer cult, since they get to spread around even more since they look more normal. They're still kind of weird and purple, but they exploit the fact that most of the Imperium doesn't actually know what a Genestealer is. So instead, people are like, that's just a weird abhuman variant. I don't know, some people are purple, I guess. which they're still treated poorly because, you know, the Imperium, and that's how they be. So they find work in very secluded areas, a lot of times mining groups, since that's really the work they can find where they're going to be kind of separate from the rest of the Imperium. And this also allows them to pull some more people in, since they get to hang out with all their secluded buddies and pull them into the cult a little bit. In fact, some of them also integrate into the actual local planetary military force, the PDF, and actually create regiments in there, making, say, a possible rebellion in the future a little harder to fight against. And sometimes they even infiltrate the Imperial Guard, and there are sometimes whole regiments made up of these guys. And then we got the 4th generation, which are also called neophytes, but these ones are basically identical to regular humans. So all that shit I said before, just picture that, but like the guy's hue is regular human skin tones and not full-on purple. And then we got the 5th generation, which somehow loops back to the original pure strain Genestealer. Like the OG one that infected the first guy from way back that I mentioned, that is what comes out. I don't fully know how that works. This is fully intended, by the way, as these are the ones that can go in and do the exact same Genestealer kiss and continue it even more. Which, that is how an actual Genestealer infestation works on a planet, is building up those stages of generations and sets in. Which, I mentioned, I keep mentioning that they're a cult. What actually makes them a cult? Well, the Genestealers all gather up when there's a decent amount of them in the first stage, which then they usually set up shop in like the lower recesses hive worlds, or a lot of times sewers, and they start to just gather and become stronger and stronger and stronger. Physically, even, the original Genestealer that caused all this, the more people that are added to the broodmine, the stronger it gets, getting really fucking massive and psychically powerful. This one being the Patriarch, which eventually will lead the cult as an actual, like, cult. So as this new cult leader is getting stronger, the cult starts to revere these things called star children. Their savior fleet of their star gods that'll one day come and release them of the shackles of their oppressors, free them from the Imperium. And so it is their duty to spread the word of the cult, build it up, and then one day rebel and strike at the Imperium, strike at the planet they're on, when their star gods can come and just take them away. Yeah, they worship tyrannids, and they are creating a cult to bring the tyrannids to the planet so they can eat everything. Because once it actually gets to the stage that they are strong enough to rebel and can actually do something, the Patriarch gets strong enough that they start sending out a psychic beacon to the tyrannids, which then they immediately divert course right to it. So if you're actually rooting out a Genestealer infestation, you have to deal with it before this stage happens, or else you're kind of fucked and they're going to be there anyways. So gotta deal with the Genestealers and then immediately set up shop for a Tyranid invasion. Makes it worse since, you know, the Tyranids kind of have a shadow over the warp that completely shuts off astropathic communications and any form of warp travel nearby. Makes it very easy to deal with. But when the time is right and they know the star gods are going to come soon, they rebel. They all come out of the woodworks, out of their mines, out of the sewers, attacking and killing everyone, throwing the planet in disarray, right when the Nids come down and start eating everyone. The planet's in such disarray they can't even defend themselves, and they get all this nice fun biomass. And then, the cultists are also recycled into biomass that are then put in the Tyranids, so then more pure strain Genestealers are made and the cycle begins. Because some might get away, some might, and those stowaways on ships headed to other hive worlds then begin to start the cycle anew on different planets. And speaking of that cycle, did you know there are Genestealers on Terra? Yeah, there's a current thing going on called the Unthinkable War, where a bunch of custodies are trying to root out a Genestealer infestation that is right under the Imperial Palace. No clue what the results of this battle are. Who knows if the Genestealers are getting rooted out actually, because you know that one big, like, duo box they released a while ago? Genestealers and Custodes, that's that fight. So who knows what the result is, but there are Genestealers on Terra, and it's uncertain if they have enough power to bring in a Patriarch and directly lead a Tyranid Hive fleet right for the fucking throne world. We'll see. Maybe this will get answered in 10th edition, since that another Hive fleet Leviathan invasion is like the main story. But anyways, that'll wrap it up. Nice quick little video. Next like couple videos will be completely normal, just I'm in this state because I fucked up my scheduling and got sick, so don't expect this for too long. Yeah, if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, do that stuff. See ya.